So right there, that is what one of the foothills of the Rockies looks like. You can see over in that direction the peak of one of the mountains. You can see the snow on the top of it there. This is a laneway I just happened to turn down. I'm out by Morley, Alberta. I believe this is a native reservation back in this area here. Anyhow, after that last email that I read about God being your driving instructor, as I was going down the highway, I remembered another email that I had received from someone, a story that they had picked up somewhere, I believe, on the internet. But I thought I would pull over and read it as well. This experience, just like I say, seems to jump out at me. It's about a car accident. And all the motorists who pulled over to offer assistance, plus all the firefighters who showed up to put out the fire, and then the emergency personnel and the doctors who were all witness to, or witnessed later to, all of the miraculous events that occurred both during and after the accident. Just trying to bring it up here. And how so many lives have been directly affected by the presence of the Lord that day. It's just an amazing and wonderful affirmation and proof of God's power and the proof of faith. Here it is. So here goes. 4 lives intersected on Highway 6 in Crawford, Texas, the day Sherry and Cody Clemens, Lisa Bodwin, and Anthony Russo all met in the midst of a tragedy. But at the same time, they all say that each of them also experienced a supernatural encounter on that rain-slick road that has forever changed their lives. Lisa had been on her way home from work. It had been raining all day, and I lost control. Her SUV slid directly into the path of Anthony's oncoming car. I remember seeing her vehicle come through my windshield, Anthony says, and that's it. I blacked out. The impact flipped Lisa's SUV multiple times after crushing Anthony's car, leaving both drivers trapped inside. My feet caught on fire, Lisa said, and then the whole car immediately began to fill up with smoke. Anthony says, the first fire began to come through my door and then began burning my arm and leg. I didn't feel anything at all, but I knew right away that I was going to die, as the steering wheel was stuck against my chest and I wasn't able to move. He blacked out again for the second time, and Lisa began to pray. I just remember saying, God, you have to help me. And it seemed like a calm peace came over me, that everything was going to be okay. And that was also the moment that Sherry first showed up. Sherry and Cody Clemens saw the accident happen ahead of them and raced to help. Sherry says that first she called 911, and then she began to cry out to God for a miracle. I just felt the gift of faith begin to stir inside my chest that nobody was going to die here that day. Nobody. I wasn't going to have to watch anyone die. God was going to show up. The couple ran over to Lisa's burning SUV, and Cody reached inside to try and pull Lisa from the growing flames. God gave me the courage to reach in there because I told him how scared I was and that I didn't want to die. I didn't want to be burned up. And then the next thing I knew, I was just there and reaching as far as I could inside her car. Lisa remembers. I was hanging upside down and my seatbelt was jammed. I kept trying to pull on it to release it, but I couldn't get it open. Cody says, I took out my knife and handed it to her, and she cut through the seatbelt and fell onto the roof. Then the next thing that happened is, both she and I realized there was no way she was going to be able to get out of the burning vehicle. The roof had been crushed down, and there was no room, maybe less than 8 inches for her to slide through. Unbelievable. In the next second, the impossible situation turned into a divine rescue. I reached out and we grabbed onto each other's hands, Cody said. And then another set of hands appeared, and they grabbed onto both of ours. Lisa recalls, as I grabbed Cody's hands, I saw another set of hands fold around his. And as he began trying to pull me through the window, there was just a brilliant burst of white light. Cody agrees. Before I knew it, we were both lying on the ground outside the vehicle. Sherry, who had been standing next to the SUV, witnessed the whole thing. God sent an angel to help pull Lisa out of that car that day. I saw this bright white light, and then from the light, I saw these hands reach out past me where there was no room, and they grabbed onto Cody and Lisa's. And then all of a sudden it was like boop. Cody and Lisa were just lying on the grass next to me. Lisa says it could only have been one of God's angels that pulled me through there. But the worst was far from over. Sorry, I got a lot of forest here and I don't know if that's the wind picking up or if there's something walking in there. A few feet away, Anthony still lay unconscious inside his vehicle, with no way to escape the fire that was consuming him. Sherry recalls, there was a huge explosion and then flames completely engulfed his car, and Anthony just consumed it up in black rolling flames. And I screamed. I said, God, we need you to send your angels now. And at that moment, another eyewitness saw a second miracle unfold. Teresa, another motorist who had stopped her vehicle at the scene of the accident, says, I began to cry out. I said, God, you have to help this man. You have to help him. And then Anthony just seemed to emerge through the door and kind of floated out onto the ground. I believe God sent his supernatural angels to carry him from his vehicle. Even though Anthony had lost consciousness during the accident, he says he has no doubt who rescued him from the fiery crash. It was definitely God, he said. Definitely. I know what happened to me that day, and it can only be described as a miracle. Cody agrees. I can only say that the Lord sent us an angel to help me get Lisa from her car, because I couldn't pull her out. And I also know that he sent an angel to pull Anthony from his vehicle, because there was no way for him to get out of his either. Soon afterwards, firefighters arrived and began to douse the flames. Sherry says God had already pulled everyone free from their vehicles, and they were all lying on the grass. And then all of a sudden, as we looked around, this huge rainbow just completely encompassed the entire scene. Lisa and Anthony were taken to the hospital with serious injuries, including broken bones and severe burns. Lisa says, I went through 8 months of rehab, and today I'm able to walk. My recovery has been great. All of my burns have healed without any problems. I didn't even require a single skin graft. And that was another miracle that has happened since that day. Anthony agrees. It took me over a year where I was going between using a rocker and my crutches, and then from my crutches to a cane. It feels good to be able to walk with a cane today, but I'm still working hard towards the day I'll be able to walk without one. 2 years later, the miracle on Highway 6 remains etched in each of their minds. A day that desperate prayers were answered, precious lives were saved, and God orchestrated the most heroic rescue. He's an awesome God because he loves us so much, Cody says. I think it was his mercy, my being covered and protected with the blood of Jesus. And to me, that's what it was. The angel of death, or whatever, passed over us that day. He didn't have the right or the authority to take our lives because Jesus was there and he pulled us out. Sherry agrees. God answers the most fervent, heartfelt cries and our most fervent, heartfelt prayers. God will always answer those, and he will also always deliver us. Wow. Well, I don't believe there's anything I should say after reading that, other than I just think it's wonderful that so many people were able to witness the miracle that happened that day on the highway. Well, I think I'm going to continue on down the road. Wind's picked up just a little bit. It's not got any warmer yet, but it's supposed to be around 45 to 50 by day's end. Anyhow, you have a wonderful day, and thank you very much again for watching my video, and may God continue to bless you. Thank you. Bye now.